Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ALS United Mid-Atlantic Goals Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Heil, here with ALS United Mid-Atlantic. And if you've listened to our past podcasts, you know that we've talked with people about their variety of perspectives when it comes to ALS, whether they are currently living with ALS, they've lost a loved one to ALS, they work here at our organization, like our nurses and social workers, or maybe they're researchers or involved in other ways to help us find new treatments and a cure to end this disease. This mission is only possible because of fundraised dollars and by donors and volunteers like you. We do that through a variety of really creative means that help to leave a legacy and leave an impact. So when you donate to our organization, it's going directly towards our important mission. It's going directly towards things like our ALS treatment centers and our in-home care program and other things that improve quality of life while funding critical research. Today I'm joined by Donna Cleary, who works here in our development department. She has been a director of development here for many years. She started around the same time as I did, and she brings some really important experience and perspective on fundraising and what makes our organization unique so that your dollars are making an impact and a difference in the lives of people with ALS every single day. And we're going to talk about some of those things that make our organization special and about the dollars that you give and how they are used appropriately for the things you want them to be used for. So Donna, thanks for talking today.
Thanks, Tony, for having me. It's been a privilege to be here. In November, it will be 15 years that I've been here, and I've met so many families and made friends throughout the year. It is a disease that's tough because you lose many of the people that you've grown to love, but it's been a real pleasure. I don't know if pleasure is the right word, but it's been a rewarding experience to try to help subsidize the programs that we have through the work that I do in fundraising.
I think it is a pleasure. I think it's okay to say that because I know that I feel really special getting to make an impact in people's lives. Sometimes we will look at a picture of someone or recall a name, or someone's just talking about someone in an event, and you know that you may not always know the impact you had, but you can talk to someone and realize that our organization is making a real difference.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about a variety of ways that people can be involved in our mission through fundraising. And we have some unique ways of doing that. You've worked in development and fundraising before coming here. So not every place does fundraising the same way, right?
Correct. I've done, most of the work that I've done is kind of what they call annual giving and writing of appeals and focusing on things like that. You've probably gotten many letters from us in the mail asking for money. So that's one of the ways that we try to get funds in through the door for people who, can make a smaller donation or even a large one sometimes, but it helps us to tell the story and to make others understand what we're doing. There's events, which our great events team participates in that. I do not do that. I just go and meet people and say thank you for being there. And often I've met people at the walks and have been able to inform them of different things. Like, for instance, veterans are twice as likely to get ALS as the general population. And through our advocacy, we've been able to get ALS is now deemed a military-connected disease, and they get 100% medical coverage. Well, I was standing in line talking to someone whose aunt passed away of ALS, and I found out that so did her husband. He was a veteran. She had no idea that she could collect these benefits. So just in that conversation, I was able to help her. So not only do we all wear we wear a fundraising hat in the development team, but we also have the people hat on too, and we're constantly looking for ways that we can help others living with the disease.
And, it means so much to all of us who are working here, and it's different than if you're working in something like the arts or other places where you might be funding a project or a building, because that's not really the kind of thing we fund, right? We have some named programs, right, but really you're not funding capital expenses in that same way.
Correct. most everything that we do is either goes into our mission, or as Tony said, you can also donate to a particular program. We've had several named programs of people who have helped establish them, like our in-home care program, which has been around for 30 years, and a patient that actually helped us to establish that. But you can put your dollars to anything that is something that is dear to you that you would like to. For instance, many people have many patients have benefited from our Abrams program, which is in-home caregiving assistance. Lots of people really like to donate to that because they know how it helped them. And this is what is helpful to us, especially with the named fund. You can donate to whatever is dear to you, and then it will still help patients who are living with ALS and families. So that's one way that it's really different. It goes right to the heart of what we do.
And our in-home care program is the Howard I. Abrams in-home care program, started by Howard Abrams about 30 years ago, which is incredible. And programs like that, including our Scott Mackler Assistive Technology program, they came about because of a need. It wasn't even just because, well, we wanted to recognize them with a name. Before Howard Abrams started that, we weren't here, but he saw that there was a real need for home care and it wasn't being funded or available for people with ALS. And now thousands of people impacted by ALS have benefited from that over the last 30 years.
Absolutely. And it is one of our most important programs and one of the more costlier programs. But the feedback that we've received from families about how much it has helped them just to stay at home with their loved one or get a break because it's caregiving assistance has been wonderful. So it's a program that is very important.
And that's a named program, and we'll talk about the other named funds soon. But when you have a named program like that, that means that future donors know that it was developed for a personal reason. It was evolved for someone who understood and empathized with the ALS cause and their families, and then other people can donate to it. So it's not just that the Abrams family, who has supported it for many, many years, it's not just that it's on them. Other people can say, oh, we're going to be part of this as well.
Right, absolutely. That's the beauty of it, that really makes people feel good that they're helping the next person or the next family who has ALS, and that's why I think it's so meaningful.
So that's some of our named programs, but we're going to talk about our named fund program. Mm-hmm. And when I've talked with you and others, this is a rather special and unique program that not every nonprofit organization does.
Right, because our named fund program it's establishing a legacy for a person who has lived with ALS, but what it does is it funds our mission. Sometimes you'll see funds or names on walls in various buildings that these funds help to erect a building or renovation or something like that, but we don't have that. Our clinics are in a hospital setting, and so we don't have anything to do with the building of that. So these funds help to subsidize programs that we have so that we can continue them for other people. Do you want me to explain more about that, Tony, or?
Our named fund program, it started about 30 years ago with our current executive director, Jeff Klein. He started that. Do you know why, we have a named fund program? Because I know other people have learned from our example and taken that. You've talked with Jeff, you've looked at it. Was there some need, just like the named programs? I think people really want to have their name associated with us for a long time.
Right, and I think that it started as a way to help us raise larger dollars or committed dollars over time. But we also saw a need to help build a lasting legacy for someone, so that after a person loses someone with ALS, it kind of gives them a purpose, or they can remember that individual and continue to help others living with ALS. So it's more about the legacy and the heart of the program that I think appeals to a lot of people.
So, what do you need to do to have a named fund? Is it something where tomorrow I just come into the office and fill out a form, or is it something that you have to organize with? How does one establish one, and what does it entail?
So it's very easy. You can speak to me or Jeff Klein. We usually handle the named funds, and there is the one thing about the named fund is that we need one particular guarantor. So that's the person who's going to guarantee. It's a $25,000 commitment, but we have several different ways to get to that 25,000. We have people who are able and willing to write a check, and then they start the fund. They decide where they want them to go. Do they want it to go to research? Do they want it to go to the overall mission? Do they want it to go to a particular program? We work with families in whatever is important to them. And then also we work with families to establish this. $25,000 is a lot of money, but maybe you might be able to do it over a 5-year period. Or maybe you might want to do some of it, leave half in your will to us, and then you'll pay half. Maybe you want to do it monthly. We'll make a monthly commitment to get to that end. We've also designed postcards so that if you want to guarantee that you're going to raise that money, but using your family to help you with that, we can do that as well. So we'll work with a family in whatever way we can to establish the fund.
Once you establish the fund, what happens then? Because it's not just like it's you get a check in the mail or a certificate. There are a lot of ways where after you've established the fund that you are recognized in perpetuity.
Absolutely. So the first thing we do is we generate or design a plate that goes on our wall in the office, and we have a wall plaque with, I think we have about 75 named funds now. And then a plate is designed for the family. There's a picture on, and it also says what the fund, the name of the fund, and what you want it to subsidize. So then that goes on a cherry wood, very attractive cherry wood frame, and that goes to the family. One really nice feature that we do is there's a website, a personal web page in perpetuity for that individual. And I've tried to work with families to really develop that. Most recently, I worked with a gentleman who really wanted to share his wife's story. So we have worked together to design that page that the entire her childhood on to when she passed away of the disease is on there. And it's been very comforting to him, and also to the many, she was a teacher, to the many people that she taught have taken a look at that website. And so we can work with you like that. Others just prefer to put a picture or two, but you can do whatever you want with that website. Just let me know and we'll do it.
I think it's a really nice way to leave a legacy and to remember someone for a long time. When you lose someone to ALS, there's an obituary in the newspaper, and that goes online, but then it's kind of a one-time thing. But you get that plaque that's at home, and if you come to our office, we walk by those plaques every single day. It's not that huge of an office, and it's a really touching memory to you and I and everybody else every day that we see it.
It certainly is. And in fact, there's not a day that I go by that I don't look at a plate and think of the history that I had with the individual. Sometimes I'm not fortunate to have known them because some people decide to do it 10 or so years after their loved one has passed away. And then others I have known throughout their life. So it's quite meaningful. And I think it is to the people who visit our office as well.
Yeah. So when people create and establish a named fund, then other people can donate to it forever. So you may have to reach a certain threshold. You might be trying to raise $25,000, but many of these funds raise more than that over many years, right? Because people continue to donate. Maybe the person who established the fund has moved, so they can't really come to a walk or come to a ride. but they can continue fundraising and remembering their spouse or their mom or dad or someone else in their family for many years to come.
Right. Each fund has its own link on the website, and even if a person wants to send a check in and say donate this to the fund, it goes through there as well. So a majority of our funds continue to raise money because the families are very committed to our mission. So it's been very helpful and a very heartwarming type of fundraising.
So if you're interested in the Name Fund program, I encourage you to go to alsmidatlantic.org or email Donna at alsmidatlantic.org. And I want to talk a little bit about how we know that people make such an impact, because we recently met with New Jersey State Senator Troy Singleton, and he was talking about someone that actually did establish a name fund. First, he mentioned a patient that we knew, Milt Sierra, who left an impact on Troy over a decade ago. And also his friend Carol Resides, who established a name with us, and he remembered her over a decade later. And it shows that these stories are so impactful and can leave an impression on people far beyond what anyone expected.
Absolutely. I remember visiting with Carol, just as an example, which is one of the benefits of my job, that I get to meet and speak with families and get to know them. And I was visiting with Carol, and we started talking about it. And Carol she was a single person, and she wanted to leave her life insurance. So I suggested that a great way to do that and her legacy would be through the name fund, is what she did. So that's another one of those plates that are up on the wall that I walk by every day, and I think fondly of Carol.
Yeah, and it's such a great memory. I remember when Carol was in our office because we celebrated a name fund. I think we had a cake for her.
Yep.
And she had those loud shirts, like bright colors she would wear. And it was just a nice, positive thing. And she knew that she could do something positive. And I imagine if we could see Carol today and tell her 10 plus years later, you are continuing to make an impact on this cause for other people, I can't imagine what she would think.
Absolutely, that's true. And just to, as another example of an individual that I got to know and love, Rhoda Mull was, I still think about her every day, and she was an advocate. Anything that she could possibly do to help promote our mission, to promote awareness, she did. And we also talked about leaving a legacy, and she did the same thing as Carol. And it was really, she was thrilled to have been able to do that, and was able to present that to Rhoda. So it's great.
One thing you and I talked about with someone like Rhoda and like Carol is that they wouldn't give this commitment if it was not for the fact that our care services department, our nurses and social workers, do such an extraordinary job of providing that compassionate personal care to people with ALS. I'm sure you've heard this many times that, if they got bad feedback about working with our social workers and our clinic team, they would go somewhere else. But the fact
Absolutely.
that people keep giving shows that they value the kind of compassion and personal touch that our social workers and nurses and other care team professionals that they provide every day.
Absolutely. And so many families have said that our social workers and clinic team are like they're a lifeline, because they're always one step ahead and kind of let them know what to expect. And they're just such a great support. And that is really a big reason behind the Named Fund program. And anything that we do is that the people and families understand the important work that we're doing to help people cope with the challenges of this disease.
100%. And I think it's really neat that when you have an event to recognize a new named fund, it's very frequent that their social worker or nurse or others maybe many people from our care team will be there on hand, whether it's a person who is living with ALS who's establishing a fund, or someone like Gary Goldstein, who's receiving one of our Flame of Hope awards this year. I know he has a named fund for his wife Paula, who passed away from ALS. You'll see people who will come back years later after the loved one has passed away, because they still, years later, our social workers and nurses still care so much about the family.
Right. That brings to mind a name fund that I did at our Hershey Clinic up in Hershey, Pennsylvania, that we recognized the establishment of the Joan Folk named fund, and her husband and children came, and our whole Hershey team who worked with them during Joan's battle with ALS were there, and it was just, the family was really thrilled that we did that, and it was just a very heartwarming event. So that is one thing that I did mention about the named fund, that usually after the establishment of it, we will have a small reception at our office, or if it's up in Hershey, we'll do it there, and just to recognize it, kind of an unveiling of the cherry wood frame. So that's kind of a nice thing to be able to do that. And then usually here at the office, the Southeastern PA social workers will join us. So it's kind of nice. It's like a little family reunion.
And I'll be honest, one of my personal favorite things is that we get these plaques from Bridgeport Trophy, so I have a reason to go down and walk down to my friends at Bridgeport Trophy and pick them up. So it's a nice little sidewalk for me, just because it's 2 blocks from my house, which we started doing that there before I even moved to Bridgeport, so it's just fortuitous for me.
I actually have a sample that I could show you.
Oh, yeah, please show it.
Yeah.
Please show it.
Excuse me, ducking.
We have these name funds in our office on the wall, but the plaques that people receive are so special. That's a great one to show up.
For Billy Lake, his wife Patty Lake and her husband now Dan Quinn. They have been working with us for 30 some years, raising money for ALS, and this year we were able to present this. I still have to give it to them. But it's a beautiful cherry wood frame, and we want to have a little something here at the office to thank them for that. So that's just an example of one of the ways that you can celebrate the named fund. But the most important part is that it funds what the family is important to the family, either the care services team or research or a particular program.
I think it's so amazing being here and seeing that so many people, whether it's our board members or staff or volunteers, have been involved for so long. I mean, Patty Lake Quinn and Dan Quinn have been involved for over 30 years. And not that I want them to stop, but if someone said after 3 years, this is just too heavy for me, we would understand. There are times Absolutely. I don't want to think about ALS, right? I go and watch something funny because I don't want to think about this disease sometimes. We all do. But the fact that we have people like the Lake Quinn family, Ellen Phillips, many others here who have been involved for decades really shows the commitment from everyone at our organization.
Should we put a plug in for the marathon that's coming up? It will be Patty and Dan are holding the Billy Lake Basketball Marathon on October 4th. This will be their 33rd. To me, that's just amazing that they continue to support this mission, and research is very important to them. So a lot of the dollars that they raise go to help find a cure for this disease.
And I think when people talk about funding research, we have had some new treatments in the last few years. Things like and riluzole. We have a new treatment for people with genetic form of ALS, SOD1 gene. It's called Casoldi. So those are very promising developments for ALS research. But even if that's not enough, every project that is funded through this name, through other donations, gets us new answers to better therapies, lets us know about. We just toured 2 of our ALS research centers, and we saw that they're doing things that when we first got here, I don't think they were able to do.
That's for sure. was amazing. And it was
So
nice to see some young researchers too in the field. So it's ongoing.
we need more young people to care about ALS research. And honestly, I think we both agree that if you can find treatments or an answer to ALS, then you can find a treatment or an answer to most any other brain-related disease.
Right. Yep. Promising. Very promising.
Now, the Name Fund program isn't the only way to donate. There are different kinds of programs that you've recommended or have helped a lot. Briefly, what are the differences between that and things like a tribute fund or monthly giving?
Well, the tribute fund is it's a fund where there is a website and people there's no goal. You kind of just use that to fundraise in memory or in honor of your loved one. So that's also on our giving page. If you go to ALS United or ALSMidAtlantic.org, you can find tribute funds and you can create one there. You can pretty much do that one on your own, and you can put, again, pictures, a story, whatever you want. But you can also email me, Donna, and I can help you with that if you need help with the creation. But it's a way for you to raise money without a particular dollar amount in mind, just so that it will honor your loved one. And then, of course, there's monthly giving, which allows you to donate monthly. And that makes a big impact because sometimes it's hard to give a big dollar amount or even like $100 at a time. You could give $10 a month. It makes a difference. So we also have that on our giving page that you could choose that. That's very helpful, and we'd love to have you join our Everyday Hero Club, we call it.
And we all have so many streaming services. If you could just maybe pare that down from 12 streaming services to 6, maybe you don't need Hulu, Netflix, and HBO Max. And, if you cut one off because you're not watching it, that's another $10, $20, $30 a month that could be going to support our ALS mission.
Just think of a cup of coffee a day for 30 days. That would add up.
And you work and our whole team works as like a continuum of giving and involvement. So sometimes people will get involved in our ALS United Walk, and they might go on to support us in other ways, whether it's a named fund or a tribute fund, or maybe they'll come to our walk and become an advocate, or vice versa. They might come and do one of these other funds and say, hey, the walk looks really fun. I want to do that. So you see people go back and forth between ways to be involved, right?
Right. And lots of times, as we have talked about in the past, is that, people do a walk team for a while, and then they still want to give. They may move away. It may not be part of they're not able to do it because of time constraints. So lots of times people will use the name fund instead of creating a walk team. So we have many different ways that can help to raise funds to continue our really important mission.
And we have things like our Philadelphia ALS United Walk, which is on November 9th at Citizens Bank Park. Some people just aren't around in November for one reason or another. Maybe they leave because of the colder weather, and so they really want to support us, and that's not the best way to do it. But even if you can't come to the walk and you want to be involved, you can still go to our website and register a team or donate to a team. And that's an easy thing to do. And then maybe from there you want to do more.
Right, that's it. And one last thing that I'd like to mention, that if you have a company, that if you work for a company that'll match your gift, that just makes your gift go twice as far. And we do have something at the bottom of our websites for that you can just click and see if your company does that. So that's always a way to double the impact.
I know a lot of companies are doing matching gifts, and sometimes people are very surprised by how much a company will match. I just had someone this week who reached out and said that their company was going to match a significant amount, and then they're going to ask their coworkers if they'll support. So their donation is going to be multiplied by 20 because they'll be getting so many other people to get involved at work.
It's a great way to double your gift, triple,
quintuple, whatever it is.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. So, Donna, I look forward to being with you at some of these more named fund celebrations and at our ALS United Walk. Before we finish here, again, what is the best way that people can learn more and get involved so they can leave a legacy?
They can email me at donna@alsmidatlantic.org. I could give you a call. And also on our website, there's information about that. But it's probably best to speak to me and I can guide you with what's the best way to do it for you and for your needs.
And it's not a high pressure situation. If someone says this sounds like it's more than I can do right now, you can. They don't have to do it today.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
You said there's some people who they wanted to be involved, and then it wasn't until 10 years later that they felt like they were able to do it. So they can still be involved in some ways now, and then in a different way 5 or 10 years later if they want to.
Absolutely. And some people even choose to establish it using their RMD from an IRA if they're a little older and they want to do what is the required minimum distribution. We can set it up with that too. So we will work with whatever way we can to make it easier for you.
I appreciate getting to work with you and seeing the people that we recognize every day. It's so humbling and inspiring to walk past our named fund wall at our main office in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. If you come to our office, we'd love to see you in person. You can see the named funds that we have and the many people that we get to recognize every day. And thank you to everyone who's established a named fund. Please reach out to Donna to learn more about this program. It's so important to our mission. And if you're interested, please, again, visit alsmidatlantic.org, where you can learn more about all that we do and how you can be empowered to be involved. So thank you so much, Donna, and I can't wait to see what we do next.
All right, me too. Thanks, Tony. Bye-bye.
If you're listening, please join our mission today. We have made significant progress with the ALS cause, but we can only do it with your help.